I've always been fascinated by the unknown. The thrill of not knowing what's real and what's imagined has always drawn me to the world of horror. This story happened a few years ago, back when the movie The Conjuring had just come out. I went to see it with two of my best friends, Daniel and Mark. We were obsessed afterward. The whole idea of cursed houses and demonic possessions had us hooked. A few days later, I stayed over at Mark's place. It was a typical sleepover: junk food, horror movies, and a lot of creepy talk. Around midnight, Mark pulled out his phone and said, "You guys ever heard of Echo Point?" Daniel and I shook our heads. Mark grinned. "It's this abandoned lookout tower just outside town. People say it's cursed, that if you go there and speak out loud, your own voice comes back. Not as an echo, but as something else." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" Mark leaned in closer. "A voice that answers. And it's not yours." I laughed. "That's ridiculous. It's just a broken tower, probably filled with rats and drug addicts." Mark just smiled. "Wanna find out?" I shouldn't have said yes. The next night, we drove out in Daniel's beat-up van. The road to Echo Point was steep, lined with dead trees, and the fog was so thick, it felt like we were driving into another world. When we got there, it was silent. Not a single bird, not even the wind, just stillness. The tower loomed above us, crumbling, rusted, with graffiti sprayed across its base. But the view, terrifyingly beautiful. You could see the entire valley below, swallowed in mist. We climbed up the creaky staircase, our flashlights barely cutting through the darkness. Once at the top, Mark stepped up to the edge and shouted, "Is anyone here?" We waited. Then, the echo came back, but it wasn't his voice. It was lower, slower, and whispered, "Turn around." Daniel and I froze. Mark laughed nervously. "It's probably a speaker or some weirdo playing games." Then we heard footsteps. Not from below, from above us. There was no above. The tower had no roof. Daniel whispered, "Guys, let's go." But before we could move, something black flashed past us, a shape fast and unnatural, darting between the shadows. The air turned cold. Our flashlights flickered. Then, that voice again. Louder this time. "One of you stays." Mark screamed and bolted. Daniel and I ran after him, practically tumbling down the stairs. I could feel something behind us, close enough to breathe down our necks, but never touching. We didn't stop running until we were back in the van. Mark was shaking so badly he couldn't get the keys in the ignition. When the engine finally roared to life, we sped off like our lives depended on it. And maybe they did. Here's the worst part. When we got home, Mark realized he had dropped his phone at the tower. The next morning, he used my laptop to log into his cloud. There was a new video. It was taken at the top of the tower after we had already run away. In it, you can see the empty platform until something steps into frame. It wasn't any of us. It had no face, no eyes, just a mouth. And it whispered, "Your voice is mine now." We never went back to Echo Point, but sometimes, in the middle of the night, I wake up to hear a voice, whispering my own name in my voice.